Hello. Welcome back to Life After Plus One. I'm Leanne, your podcast host and your single parent mentor and coach. And today I want to talk about a topic that impacts a lot of you single parents. And that is the nervousness, the jitteriness, the anxiety you get when you have to deal with your ex at handover time. Because when you're in a high conflict co-parenting relationship, it is very stressful having to deal with your ex. The anxiety, the nerves, the tension, the pressure, it keeps people awake at night. It's a horrible feeling when you're having to face someone head on that you just don't want anything to do with. And how do you deal with that? How do you deal with someone that has gone out of your way to make your life difficult? Because that's quite often why you're feeling this way, because it's a high conflict co-parenting relationship. They're not making your life easy. So dealing with them adds so much extra pressure and stress. So today's episode, we're going to talk about that, how to handle this situation, what to do, and how to make it a little bit easier. And I do want to also, just before I do jump into today's episode, just a friendly reminder that for those of you out there who don't know everything that I offer here at Life After Plus One, so I'm sure you're aware we've got this podcast that comes out every week, every Tuesday, maybe Monday nights, depending on where you are. And then there's also the one-on-one coaching. Now, a lot of people think, I don't need coaching, I don't need help. That's fine. I love that there's so many out there that want to do it themselves. But coaching is all about helping you get through it in a healthy way. It's about reframing what you're going through. So it's not just a matter of eventually using time and hoping time will fix your problems. It's about looking at the way you're handling situations, looking at how it's affected you, whether it's your confidence, whether it's your self-worth, whether it's your communication style, all these things that have impacted where you are today. It's about learning from that and growing from that and doing something better or reframing, I really should say, so you don't go down this same path again, because it's very common to see when people break up as a single parent, they go into the dating world, it ends badly because they've gone into that same relationship, they've gone into a new relationship with that same mindset and then surprised that it hasn't worked because you're not doing anything different. And that's the whole point. And this is one thing that a lot of people forget when you go through a breakup. Breakups, I'm not there just to tell you that you're shit or you're not a good person or you're not worthy of having a partner. Breakups are your way to learn a lesson. Every hardship we go through in life, it's a lesson. There is something we can learn from that. There is something we can use to better ourselves from that. And that is the whole point in coaching, to help you find that lesson, to help you grow, to help you be that better person. And it's not just about saying, yep, I'm fine, I'm over my ex, because coaching is not just about your ex. It's not about talking about what they did to you and how horrible of a person they are. It's about looking at you as a person and finding ways to better yourself, finding ways to handle situations better in the future. It's about setting your boundaries. It's about knowing your confidence. It's about believing in yourself. So you're not doubting yourself. You're not falling into these same toxic dating patterns. And that's exactly where we're going with this episode today. Today's episode is about dealing with that anxiety, dealing with that nervousness, dealing with that jittery feeling that you get when you're dealing with your ex. And there are people that do go through this process for years because they've still got that emotion, they've still got that trauma, they've still got all those triggers there from their ex. They're all still there. And until you learn to deal with them, you're going to keep feeling that way. So I'm going to dive into today's episode and unpack that a bit more, but it's just some food for thought for you. It's not about just sweeping things under the carpet and pretending, yes, I'm fine. It's about actually looking at ways to deal with it so you can manage it differently in the future and you're not repeating these same patterns over and over again. So on that note, let's dive into today's episode and talk about the nerves and the jittery feelings and the tension and anxiety you get when you're having to face your co-parent. Welcome to the Life After Plus One podcast, where we turn life's lemons into delightful lemonade. Get ready for inspiring stories, uplifting conversations, and all the tips and tricks to rock your single parent journey with style. I'm your host, Leanne, and it's time to embrace the adventure of Life After Plus One. So let's dive in. Now, when you're dealing with your ex after a breakup, it is quite challenging. And one of the things I always mention in all my podcasts, in all my coaching, in all my social media posts is always that co-parenting is about the kids. But I fully respect and I fully understand and I fully empathize with anyone that's going through a breakup. When you're first in that breakup, when you're in that very hard stage and you're dealing with a toxic co-parent, it is very hard to put those emotions to the side. So it's easy to say co-parenting is just about the kids, because it is. But there's a lot more to it. You've got to get through all this other stuff so you can get to that part where you can just make it about the kids. And quite often people don't. Quite often people just forget to do that. And it's not uncommon to see co-parenting relationships 10 years down the track. They're still angry and bitter at each other because they haven't gotten over it. And their kids feed off that energy. So today we're going to talk about those feelings you get when you deal with your ex, because it's important to deal with them. Because as I just pointed out, I should say, when you're dealing with this, when you're feeling nervous and you're feeling anxious and you're feeling all jittery, it's when you're having to face them. It's when you're having to see them at either pick up or drop off, or maybe even special occasions like birthdays or something. And these are the times that you have your kids with you. So your kids are seeing you when you're feeling like this. Your kids are seeing you when you're getting all nervous and getting all tense and getting all anxious. And they feed off that energy. And that's not what you want your kids to see. You don't want your kids to see you stressed out and all panicked and nervous and in tears and not sleeping because you have to face the other parent. Now, I'm not saying just to sweep everything under the carpet and pretend like everything's rainbow and butterflies. I am saying it is very important to deal with these emotions, because it's not healthy for you and it's not healthy for the kids to have to go through this and to have to go through these feelings, because you've got to see this person. Now, let's talk more about where it comes from. Because when you're feeling this way, it's because it's a high toxic or high conflict situation. You don't get like this when you're dealing with a very amicable co-parenting relationship, because you guys are amicable. You're in this situation, you're getting nervous, you're getting jittery, you're getting anxious, and you're getting all tense because you're dealing with someone who has made your life a living hell. Quite possibly, and that's usually the case. So when you're having to face them, you're getting all anxious about having to deal with their toxicity, with having to deal with their manipulation and their gaslighting, with having to deal with their judgment. There's all these things that come into play. What are they going to say? What are they going to do? Are they going to be angry? Are they going to be nice? Are they going to be sarcastic? Are they going to be nasty? Are they going to be late? Are they going to no-show? You go through all these questions in your head, wondering how they're going to react, what they're going to do, what they're going to say. And it's not a fun way to co-parent, and it's not a fun way to live. No one should be put in this situation. Now, the best advice I can give when you're going through this is, 1, treat it like a business transaction. Don't treat them like they're your ex who's screwed you over and they've been a complete arsehole. Now you have to walk on eggshells to make them happy. Treat it like they're a business partner. And it sounds easier said than done, doesn't it? Because it's your kids. You're not just going to hand your kids over to a business partner. But in a sense, when you're dealing with them, when you're talking to them, when you're co-parenting with them, treat it like a business partner. Communicate with them like they're a business partner. Do not engage in anything else, because if it was a business partner, you probably would engage in personal chit-chat and talking about things that aren't necessarily relevant to co-parenting. You wouldn't engage in conversation about their appearance and nasty accusations. You wouldn't get involved in that with a business partner. Maybe some people would, but in this sense, we are not. So when you're dealing with a very high conflict ex who makes you feel this way, first of all, focus on it like they are a business partner. That's it. Don't look at them like they're your ex. Don't look at them like they've done this to you. Don't look at them like you've been through this with them. Treat it like a business transaction. And the other thing that I really can't emphasize enough, because I see this spoken about and so many people go through this, and it's a very, very, very common scenario where there's always, more often, I won't say always, but like majority of the time, there is one person in that co-parenting relationship that tries to control the other. And that's quite often when these situations end up like this, when you're getting all nervous and you're getting all jittery and you're getting all anxious because the other person is quite controlling and quite demanding and is trying to have control over the whole co-parenting situation. And that is toxic. And that is how you end up reacting like this. So it's very important to remember that when you're co-parenting, this person is not above you. This person is not in power of you. This person doesn't control you and what you do, and it doesn't have full, complete control over the co-parenting arrangement. You guys are equal partners, and whatever happens, whatever they try and say, whatever they try and do, they do not have more say over the co-parenting relationship than you do. And if they are, then they're not putting the kids' needs first. They're putting their ego first. And if they're making things quite toxic and quite nasty and quite malicious, they're not putting the kids first. They're putting their ego first. And that's a reflection of them. So those are the two biggest things I can really point out when you're co-parenting with a high conflict ex who is making you feel this way at handover. Treat it like a business transaction. And remember, they have no power over you. They do not have control over you. They are an equal co-parent. Okay, just because they may earn more money, or they may have more care, or they may have a better job, or they may live in a bigger house, it doesn't matter. You guys are still equal co-parents. They do not have more say or more power in that co-parenting relationship. Now, I do understand it's easy to say, just treat them like a business partner. Just remember they're equal. But when it comes down to it and they start manipulating you, they start saying things to you that makes you feel uncomfortable, they start belittling you, and then you're creeping down to this small little person that's like looking up to them, and they're making you feel like they have more power than them. Some of the things you can do in this situation is just remember to create an emotional distance. And by that, I mean, don't engage in any other contact that's not related to the kids. So quite often when you're dealing with an ex like this, they do engage in other contact or other communication, as I should say. They do try and manipulate you. They do try and twist things to work around them and to work around their needs. That's what they do. It's all about them and their egos. So don't engage, create that emotional distance. Don't get worked up, don't get involved. And that's another reason why I have this co-parenting playbook, that texting guidebook. It's so you don't get emotionally worked up when you're texting them. It's those cut and paste messages that boom, off you go, see you later. No emotions involved. And that's the whole point of it. When you're dealing with an ex who makes you feel like this, you've got to cut out the emotion. And it takes a long time to do that. So whilst you're doing that, these scripting texts are an excellent way to do that, where you can just message them without getting so emotionally invested. And it's not a way of cutting them off completely. Well, not say cutting them off. It's not a way of cutting them off emotionally completely, but it's how you can start by learning to not respond to them in an emotional way. So starting by doing it by text, perfect way to start, so you can eventually learn to not engage emotionally when you're dealing with them in person as well. So try and take that emotional connection out. Don't get all worked up. Don't start talking about the breakup. Don't start talking about, well, you did this, well, you did that. Those things are never going to get a productive outcome when you're co-parenting. It's not about proving a point, and I'll say that time and time again. Co-parenting is not about, well, you did this, well, you did that, well, why can't I have this, well, why can't I have that? And that's why it's so important to let go of those breakup emotions. When you're responding to your ex in this way, when you're co-parenting, you're letting your breakup get involved. You're letting your breakup take charge. And that's not what you want to happen. Another thing that's very important to remember when you are co-parenting with someone like this that makes you feel or anxious and nervous is have your boundaries. And one thing I see a lot is when people set boundaries and they get really proud of themselves, they've done this great job, and then the next minute they let those boundaries slide again. And you've shown your ex that you're not serious on what you're saying. And they're like, perfect, I knew they were full of shit. I knew they couldn't stand their ground. And then they're back in manipulating you all over again, taking control all over again. Setting boundaries is a very big move for some people. And you do need to have confidence in yourself and you do need to have trust in yourself. But the thing is, when you're going to start doing it, you can't just start and then back down. You got to stick by your word. You got to show that you're serious. And again, as I always say, boundaries are not about being rude or confrontational. They're about knowing your worth. Because it's very common to see single parents just give in because it's easier and you want to keep the peace. But really, when you're doing that, you're keeping the peace for your ex. And once you've done that and you've given in for them, you're not happy. There's no peace for you. There's no happiness for you because, I've just given them what they want again, but that's not what I wanted to do. Or, great, I missed out on my weekend because I've just given in to make them happy. Setting boundaries is about showing that you're an equal parent in this. You're an equal co-parent in this. It's not just the ex show. It's not just about them. And when you keep giving in to keep the peace, you're letting them have their way at everything and your needs are getting pushed to the side. So I want to ask you this question. If you're someone that isn't confident enough to set boundaries because you want to let them do it, well, not that you want to, because you think it's easier, I should say, just to keep the peace. Why do you think that you're not worth having your needs met? Why do you think that you are not worth having your say? And why do you think you are not worth being an equal partner, that you think that they should get their way all the time to keep the peace for them? Are your needs not as important? Are you not as important? Because when you're not setting boundaries, when you're constantly giving in to somebody else, you're showing your kids that's how you do things. You're showing your kids that your needs don't matter. And in the kindest way possible, when your kids see this with your ex, I can guarantee you when they grow up as teenagers or younger adults, there's a good chance they're going to start behaving that way with you because they see you're a pushover. And I see it a lot. I've got older kids. I'm a single mom or a single dad, and I got older kids and they just keep walking all over me. They don't listen to me. Well, are you setting boundaries? Are you telling them yes or no? And I know sometimes it's a lot more than that, but a lot of the time, that's what it comes down to. And quite often, they've seen it, how you've been with the other parent. They've seen you've been a pushover. They've seen that you don't set boundaries. They've seen that you always put your needs last. You just give in because it's easier. And then the kids see this. They know that's what you're doing. So then they know they can get away with it. So just with everything, your kids feed off that. Your kids see what you're putting out there. You don't want to show your kids that you're not worth having a say. You don't want to show your kids that you're not worth standing up for. And sometimes when you're a single parent, it gets easier because you got no one to back you up. And two, you don't want to be the bad parent because it's just one of you, and sometimes you feel guilty for giving in, or not so much guilty for giving in. You feel guilty for just having that one parent. You feel guilty because of where you're at in your life, so you just give in to them. But what a lot of people forget is kids need structure. Kids need someone that set those rules. They need those guidelines. They need some tough love. They really do need tough love, and they need to see it from you. And that applies to your ex. So when you're in this situation with your ex and you just think, it's easy to give in. It's easier for your ex. It's not easier for you, because quite often when people are doing that, it's that whole people-pleasing concept and that whole, I don't want any conflict. I don't want any drama. But speaking up for yourself is not being confrontational. You're not creating drama because you're saying, no, sorry, I can't do it this weekend. Or because you're saying, no, I can't change the times. That's called setting boundaries because you've got plans. And another thing I see a lot is when an ex changes the plans and then someone had something on and they've gone and changed it and then it's messed up their plan. So then they've had to reschedule everything because the ex changed plans, but they didn't actually speak up and say, well, actually, no, I can't do that. I've got plans. You have to stick to that. And that's one thing I see a lot when people, or when you're as a single parent, you don't have that worth. You don't have that self-trust. You don't have that confidence in yourself because it's either shattered from the breakup. You've gone through this breakup and you just now all of a sudden think you're not good enough. You're never going to find someone. You failed in the relationship. You failed your kids. So it's a very common scenario to go through where as a single parent, your confidence has gone to the shit. Your self-worth has gone to the shit. So setting boundaries and making decisions that are best for you are very hard to do because you don't believe in yourself. And that's why so often you see it where single parents get caught up in this phase of just doing what the ex wants to keep the peace and just to make them happy. But they're making themselves unhappy in the process. So this is all related to when you're dealing with an ex that makes you feel this way when you're seeing them in person. And when you are feeling like this, when you are getting nervous and jittery and anxious about having to face them, have your boundaries. Have your boundaries. So if they start talking about things that you believe are inappropriate or not related to handover time, then just say, no, sorry. I'm not getting involved in this, or I'm not having this discussion, or maybe not when the kids are around, or we can talk about this later. That's setting a boundary. That's not being rude or nasty. It's just saying straight up, no, sorry, I'm not having this conversation now. Or, yep, we can discuss this, but not in front of the kids. That's having a boundary. Not just doing things to make them happy, not engaging in arguments when the kids are there because they've just triggered you and you haven't known how to react. Have your boundaries. And another thing that's so important when it comes to these situations at handover time is a lot of people get worked up because you don't know how your ex is going to be. And if they're coming to your house or you're going to their house, again, it's another whole guessing game. Are they just going to come into your house and make themselves at home? Are they going to comment on something that they shouldn't be? Are they going to make you feel uncomfortable or do something that's inappropriate? These are more reasons of why people get nervous and anxious when having to deal with their ex because of the way they behave. This is more of a reason why you need to have those boundaries in place when they do things that make you feel uncomfortable. If you don't like them in your house, just say, hey, listen, I just need you to stay at the door, please. That's setting a boundary. Don't put yourself in a position where you're going to feel uncomfortable to make your ex feel better. That's the importance of having boundaries to look after you. Stop putting yourself as the last priority for your ex. You are a priority. Now, when you've gone through this, when you've done the handover, maybe the kids have gone to the other parent's house and you've just had your moment where you got all worked up and they've just left. Maybe they have said something and it's got you worked up even more and you're feeling worse afterwards than what you were feeling before they came and picked up. Just step back and take a reset. Because sitting around and just stewing on it, maybe going on Facebook and having a vent and getting angry and then maybe sitting down and sending them text messages about what they did and what they said, it's not going to help. If anything, you're just going to get caught up in that negative bubble and it's going to make you feel worse. Take a step back and reset. You might think again, what are you talking about? What do you mean just reset? I mean that exactly. Reset. Get out and go for a walk. Go for a bike ride. Go to the gym. Sit down and meditate. Read a book. Put some calming music on. Do something that will just clear your head for a minute. Now, it's not going to erase everything that just happened, but it's just a little reset. So it just gets you feeling a little bit better in the moment because it happens often. And it happened with me many years ago when my ex would come and do pickup and the whole weekend you'd be all worked up because of what happened. And then you've got to face it again at drop-off time and then you're getting worked up again for the next few days. And then the cycle starts again a few days before pickup when maybe they start messaging again, planning pickup time. And it's just that endless cycle of constantly feeling shit because you're in that, I can't think of the word, but you know that mouse thing when a mice are on that wheel. What's it called? There's a word for it. I'm going to have to look it up. Okay, I just quickly Googled it and it is called a mouse wheel. I'm disappointed in that. I thought it was called something else. But anyway, that's how you feel when you're dealing with your ex, when you're going through this. You're constantly on that wheel. It's that never-ending cycle of, okay, planning to meet them, getting yourself in the right headspace, getting all worked up, knowing you've got to see them, and then you're worked up for days after because of what's just happened, and then the drop-off happens, and then you're worked up all again, and then you worked up for a few days after that, and then you may get a couple of good days here and there, and then it's back to that cycle again. You need to get off. You need to get off that wheel. So especially when it's handover time and the kids have gone to the other parents and you're now there on your own, take it. Use that time to go and reset. Go sit at the beach. Go sit at the lake. Go sit in your local park. Do something just to get out and clear your head. Put on a podcast. Put on some calming music. I do that a lot. I don't get worked up. I don't get tense anymore over this kind of stuff. But sometimes, especially in the middle of the night, I've been lately waking up a lot of times at 4 o'clock in the morning. And I'll just wake up and put some meditation music on. And then I fall back to sleep and I have the most craziest dreams you've ever experienced. I don't know if it's from the meditations I do or what, but I've been having some insane dreams lately. But anyway, I've gone off topic a bit. But it makes you feel better. And like in those moments when you can't sleep in the middle of the night, that's what I do and it helps me sleep. So maybe that's something you can try. If you can't sleep in the middle of the night because of your ex, don't get all worked up. Don't jump on social media. That's not going to help you. Put on some calming music. I guarantee it'll make the world of difference. And so go out and have a reset. When they've left and you're all worked up, don't get on social media and vent. Don't start texting them. Don't start calling them. Don't start making all these demands and accusations and saying, why did you do this? Why did you say that? They're not going to give you the answer you want. They're not going to give you the apology or the explanation or whatever else. Honestly, when you get in that mind, that headspace, you're fighting a losing battle. You're never going to get anywhere. Just focus on you. Always keep your focus on you. I mean, and your kids, of course. But in this moment, it's about you. They've made you feel shit. The kids are now gone to their place. What can you do to make yourself feel better? Go out and do something that you enjoy doing that will make you feel good, even if it's just for 10, 15 minutes. I guarantee that little bit of clock off time for you will make you feel better. And another thing as well, just remember, you don't owe your ex anything. You do not owe your ex anything. So when it comes down to it, when you're in this place of getting anxious and worked up, just remember, you don't owe your ex any explanations. You don't owe your ex you don't owe them anything. And sometimes when you are in this early stages and you don't know how to handle it, have a third person, whether it be a family member, a close friend, someone that's pretty neutral and is very level-headed. And when I say that, I mean you do not want to ask a friend to come with you that is going to vent their breakup anger out on your ex and it's going to make your situation worse. You do not want that. If you have a third person come and help you or be there for you to support you at pick up and drop off, then make sure they're not going to say anything unless they're maybe stepping in to maybe support you if they got stepped out of line. But they're there just as emotional support. That's what you want. You don't want them to get involved where it's going to make things harder and more difficult for you. Just have that emotional support. Even if they come to your house, your ex is coming to your house to pick up, have them in another bedroom. So then maybe when your ex is gone, they're there to support you or give you some advice when they're gone. But having a family member there or a friend is a great way to handle it if you're just not sure that you can cope. You're not sure that you're not going to be able to not say anything, because it's very easy to just say, yep, I'm not going to say anything. Yep, I'm not going to do anything. Yes, I'm not going to get involved. And the next minute you're seeing their face and you're like, all rage just come out. I understand. But you've got to try and control yourself because that's not going to help. And yes, I do get that when you're feeling like that, it's very normal. You want to let it out. So that's why sometimes it is good to have that extra emotional support there. So when they do leave and you want to vent, they're there to vent with you. But if you're going to have that third person there, well, not third person, but third person that's apart from you and your ex, but they are there purely for emotional support. Not to yell at your ex and tell them how much of an arsehole they were and how much they screwed up and how wrong they were for doing this. That's not going to fix anything. The breakup is done. It's done. Even though what may have happened, there might have been a lot of wrongdoing in the breakup, but rehashing all that stuff with another person is not going to help your situation. Have an extra support person or have a support person there for you if you feel like you're not going to be able to handle that situation well. Even if it's someone that just stays in the car, if you're meeting at a certain place and they just stay in the car and wait for you. So as soon as the kids are gone and you get back in the car, you've got them to vent to, or you've got them to have a little cry with. Because it happens. We've all done it. We've all had that little cry at pick up and drop off. It's okay. It's all part of the process. You're grieving, you're getting over the breakup, you're adjusting to the kids, going to the other parents. It is a big deal. So don't underestimate that. But just try and remember when you're going through that handover time, it's all about learning to control those emotions. And don't forget also, when you're in the process of about to meet up or about to see them, just prep yourself a little bit emotionally. Just prep yourself, give yourself a little pep talk. I promise I won't yell at them. I promise I won't say this. I won't get involved. I won't do this. Or it's not that bad. It's just a business partner. Try and prep yourself emotionally a little bit. Get yourself a little psyched up. Listen to some motivational music or something that's going to pump you up so you're not so negative. Because if you're meeting up with them after just having a fight through text or phone call, and then next minute you're seeing them, you're just going to spew out all these emotions as soon as you see them. So try and just mentally prep yourself a little bit. So just remember, keep the conversation short, keep it direct and about what's important. Keep it neutral, don't take the bait, and allow yourself time to decompress afterwards. Take some deep breaths, do what you got to do, but just take some time just to let it go so it doesn't drag on through the weekend or for the next few days. And just remember, if these emotions keep going, if you keep feeling like this, then there's a lot of emotions there from the breakup that you need to manage, that you need to resolve. Because you can have these emotions and you can let just time eventually make you feel better. Time will make you feel better, but those emotions, those feelings are still going to be there. They're just hidden away. And that's why so often, as I mentioned earlier in the intro, that's why so often when you go into new relationships, you go into this repetitive dating cycle because these emotions that have been pushed down will come back up again. So if you had problems in that relationship with your co-parent where there was trust issues, where you just didn't have the confidence to speak up for yourself, you may be holding on to fear of rejection. All these emotions are still going to be there until you actually learn to manage them. And that is exactly why people go through this repetitive dating cycle. It's not that you're meeting the same types of people. It's that you've got the same emotions in you that you haven't dealt with. You've got these same emotional baggage there that you're holding on to, that you think you're all fine, you think you're all good, but you go back into the dating world and boom, you're triggered. You feel like you can't trust again. Boom, you're clinging on to this person because you're fearful of rejection. You're fearful of being on your own again. You're fearful of not being good enough. All these emotions are always going to be there until you learn to deal with them. And that's the whole point in coaching. It's about getting you to the best version of yourself. So you're more confident in yourself. You're more trusting in yourself. You're realizing your worth. And when you get to that place where you are more confident in yourself, you do have that self-worth, you are believing in yourself, then you'll see that nervousness when dealing with your ex will disappear. That anxiety will disappear. That tension will disappear because you understand the situation better. You understand yourself better. You're more confident in yourself to be able to set those boundaries and not worry what they may say or do because you know how to handle those situations. You're confident to speak up and say, no, sorry, that's not okay. You're trusting in yourself. You're able to recognize what is right and what is not right. You're able to not get emotionally invested in your ex, in what they're saying, in what they're doing. Because when you're focused on where they're at, what they're doing, what they're saying to you, when you're getting worked up because they're 15 minutes late, when you're getting worked up because they haven't responded to your text message quick enough, or little things are happening that are constantly pissing you off with your ex, you're still emotionally invested. You're still holding on to emotions from that breakup. And a lot of people say, no, I'm fine. I'm not emotionally invested. But then next minute, boom, they're getting angry at something they said. You're emotionally invested and you don't realize it. Because when you've let go of all emotions, when you've emotionally detached, then you can co-parent without getting triggered, without getting upset, without getting bothered by what they do, because you realize that's them. That's their choice. That's what they do. It's not what you do. And then that's when you get to a place where you no longer get nervous or anxious or tense when it comes to meeting them. This is a huge part when you're a single parent because you want to be that role model for your kids when you can show your kids, yeah, I can stand up for myself. I can stand my ground. And I don't have to be nasty about it. I don't have to start fight about it. I don't have to be a meanie or about it. I just know that I don't have to say things just to keep them happy and just to keep the peace for them. I deserve to be happy. And remember, co-parenting is about you guys being equal partners, not about one person being higher above you, not about one person controlling the whole scenario. It's not about one person making all the demands and the requests. So if this is where you're at, there's a lot of work you need to do in yourself. There's a lot of work you need to do to move yourself forward so you get out of this pattern. And it's so important to remember that you can be single for a year, you can be single for 2 years, you can be single for 5 years. But if you haven't reflected on anything from your breakup as to what's happened, why, how it made you feel, what you can do differently, then you're going to go into another relationship with those same kinds of issues. And I'm not wishing anything bad on anyone, but it's so important to work through these things. It's like when you're going for a job, you look at what you need, you look at what skills you need, you look at what you're good at, you look at upskilling, you look at improving yourself. Same with relationships. You look at improving yourself. You look at learning from the past. You look at doing something better in yourself so you can be that better version of you. That's what it's all about. So I do really empathize with you if you are there now. If you are going through that phase where, I won't say phase, it's not a phase. It is a period of time in your single parent life where it's a shitty place because you're still really emotionally caught up in it all. And that's not a bad thing. There's no shame on anyone for still being emotionally caught up in it. It's no shame. There's no, oh my God, look at you. You're still caught up with your ex. You're still emotionally invested in your ex. No, it's not like that at all. It can take years to get to a breakup. But when you're relying on that right support to help you get through, it is a much quicker process. I can guarantee that. And I just wish I could really spread this word to everyone around the world, because quite often the first thing when people do when they go through a breakup as a single parent, and especially when it's not an amicable breakup, it's straight away they're butting heads. I want this, I want that. No, this is mine. No, this is mine. I want this. And it's just fight. Or I'm going to take you for everything I can. And I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I'm going to make the breakup a living hell for you. The comments you see are absolutely ridiculous. And it just comes down to people's ego. And so what are you going to achieve from this besides making your child's other parent a living hell? And it just really makes me cringe when I see that mentality. It's like, just drop your ego and do what's best for your kids. Be a better person for your kids. Your kids are watching this. And it's really sad. I see this mentality so often. I'm going to take you for everything. I'm going to make your life hell. And all these people talking about my ex is doing this, my ex is doing that, my ex is trying to get this, my ex is trying to get everything, my ex is going for sole custody. Get yourself in a better headspace. Step back from the breakup for a minute. Step back from everything to do with the divorce and the settlement and custody and just clear your head. Because you cannot make these decisions when all you're doing is just fight, and just focus on winning. And I really wish there was more education about this, more education in supporting single parents to actually stop and look after you before you go through this. Because I can guarantee you now, if you actually did that before you went through that whole process, your breakup and your co-parenting relationship would be so much easier. But when you've got one co-parent that just wants to fight to win, it's never just one. That's when the other one's like, right, I'm going in for more. Because when one parent has that mentality of, I just want to win, I just want to beat you, then the other one just retaliates. And then it's just a constant back and forth. Do you know who wins in this process? The lawyers. That's it. The lawyers. Because you don't walk out of a divorce proceeding or a settlement and say, that was good, I feel good now. Very few people do. I doubt anyone would. They'd probably walk out of it and say, holy fuck, that was a long and expensive process. And that's it. When you're just in it with the mentality to fight and to win against your ex, it is very, very long. So if that's your mentality when going through a breakup, brace yourself, because it's not going to end overnight. It is going to drag on and on and on. And This is why I cannot emphasize enough the importance of just separating yourself from the breakup. And I understand it's not so easy to say, yep, okay, I'm just going to put my breakup to the side and I'm going to focus on the divorce, I'm going to focus on the settlement, and I'm going to focus on custody issues. It's not as easy as that when you're right in the thick of it all. But I just wish there was more education about that to really say, hey, just stop and just get yourself sorted first. Just really look after you. There is no rush to have everything done by set date. There's no rush to have a divorce done by set date. There's no rush to have custody done by set date. Maybe there is for some people, but it's okay to just put it to the side for a little bit and focus on you. Because when you're feeling better, when you're in a better mind frame, you can handle things in a better way. You can handle your ex in a more effective way and in a healthier way. And that's what you want. It's not about trying to be their best friend. It's not about trying to or giving in and letting them win and keeping the peace. It's about learning or understanding that you guys have broken up, the relationship didn't work, but how can you learn to co-parent amicably and put your emotions to the side and be there for your kids? It's not an easy process, but it is possible, I promise you. And that is so important when it comes to co-parenting. And I've gone off on a bit of a tangent then, but it's all relatable. It all really links. So please reach out if you do want some support. I really am so passionate about what I do. And as I just feel like I'm sometimes repeating myself, but I'm sorry if I do. But as someone that has been there many, many, many years ago from a very extremely toxic breakup, and anything negative and horrible that you can think of, you can go through in a breakup. I went through it. But I've learned, I know, I understand how to get through that. I'm on the other side of that. I've done the work on myself. I've done everything you need to do to get to the other side. And I've always promised myself, when I get through this, I'm going to do the work, I'm going to do the study, I'm going to do everything I can so I can give back and I can help to those other single parents that are going through something that I once did. Because when I was in it, I didn't see a way out of it. I was stuck. That this is it. This is my life. It's not. There is a way out. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm here to help you find that. I'm here to help you realize you don't have to get nervous and anxious and jittery every time you see your ex. You can just treat it like a business transaction. And eventually it won't even be like a business transaction. You can just co-parent with them amicably. You can see them, pick up, drop off, and it doesn't trigger you one bit. You don't get all nervous. Your heart doesn't beat any faster. You don't get sweaty palms. You don't get worried about what they say or do because you know how to handle that situation. You trust yourself. You're more confident in yourself. And that is what it's all about. You. And the biggest thing here with everything what I say and everything what I do in my coaching, it's not about your ex. It's not about what they do. It's not about what they say. It's all about you. It's all about you and learning new ways to handle it, learning how to respond, learning how to react, learning how to look after you. That's what this is about. And on that note, I'm going to wrap it up because once again, I went off on another tangent. So thank you all. I hope you got something valuable from this. And you can't keep co-parenting in that way. You can't keep co-parenting with someone you're constantly walking on eggshells for, because you guys are equal partners. Remember, that's what it comes down to. Okay, there's no one that's the boss of the other one. There's no one in charge of the other one. And I'm pretty certain for anyone that's listening to this episode, you're not someone that's controlling your ex. It's a good chance you're probably someone that is being controlled by your ex. And that's why you're here. That's why you're listening to this, because you want to get out of that. You want to stop having to deal with that, and you can. And it starts with you. And it starts with you choosing to make that difference. It starts with you starting to choose a better way of handling it. And if you want to take that next step to a faster growth and a faster way of getting through this, then reach out. Let's chat. Let's talk and get you through this, because I promise you can. And if you do want that, jump onto my show notes. I've got all my coaching packages and everything there for you. So thanks again, everyone. Don't forget to share this with your single parent friends. And if you do have any questions, reach out. Jump onto my socials. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. You can find me anywhere. Jump on, say hi, send me DM, and I promise I'll respond. And that's it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all for coming back week after week. And until next week, I'll be in your ears then. Thank you for joining us on the Life After Plus One podcast. If you loved what you heard today and looking for some further support, then jump onto our website, lifeafterplusone.com. Plus, don't forget to check out our Instagram page for further resources and inspo. You can find all the links in the show notes. And remember, you're not alone on this path. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next episode. And in the meantime, keep thriving, keep growing, and keep exploring your amazing life after plus one.